Okay, Moneysocket. The hard work begins. So yeah, the video went out last week or so. We got 213 views on it, a really good response. The tweet that I wrapped it in got a decent amount of engagement. So that was a lot more than I expected. So people like the idea. A bunch of people joined the Telegram group. That's t.me/moneysocket. I'll put the links in the description. But yeah, we've had a really good collaborative discussion, a bunch of ideas from a number of people, and some back and forth. So I think we're doing well, narrowing in on the idea here. So please get in on that. So this video here, this is not a nice software demo. This is the hard work beginning. So it's not fancy pants stuff. Hopefully we'll have some cooler software to show in time, but yeah, really now it's a grind exercise to get stuff built. Check back if that's what you're into. If you want to see how the sausage is made, keep watching. In the group, we kind of went back and forth talking about different things. So this is kind of my synthesis. I'm trying to split up different concepts. And my goal with the reference or the prototype implementation is to represent some of these ideas, lay out the code very cleanly such that we have a clear idea of what we're talking about. The existing implementation, I showed off everything's kind of mashed together, which is good for getting it running quickly, but it's not necessarily what we want to be able to present this as something that somebody else can start taking and adapting for their own application. I think we agreed that LNURL has some very good definitions for services and wallets, so we're going to stick with that. That wasn't in the initial implementation, but kind of there's the idea that there's a service and a wallet, and these are sort of the two sides of the same coin. No pun intended, but yeah, that's kind of the definitions. Now, with these big dotted lines here, this is kind of me trying to segment off the discussion. I think this is a point raised. We're throwing around ideas, and a lot of the time it's like, oh yeah, that's no problem. That's a choice of the application. So kind of in the design of the protocol, we kind of want to simplify what's in this box. But it's still relevant to talk about, okay, well, what are we going to build out of this? And then is that purely an application decision, or is that something that gets baked into the quote-unquote core of the protocol? So the idea, yeah, is to keep this simplified. And then similarly, we've had a lot of talk about the transport, sort of WebSocket is the initial idea, but then there's idea of WebRTC has a lot of advantages. So we need to support that as well. Or at least include that in the discussion. So these boxes all kind of represent Python classes that I've drafted, but certainly the goal is anybody in any language can go implement this. But yeah, this kind of demonstrates the different roles. So I guess maybe I'll start at the bottom here. The socket. Whether we have WebRTC or WebSocket or whatever library, so I'm using actually the Python Autobahn library for WebSockets, and there's more than one even in Python. And then so the implementation on how you'd use that library differs. But at the end of the day, we want it to be a simplified abstraction of like providing this pipe that's between a service and a wallet. So we kind of want to have the code laid out such that we can plug in different pieces, and that gets all simplified into what I've called the Moneysocket socket class. There may be redundancy in that, but yeah, just a very basic pipe is what we need, and then the wallet and the service will send and receive through that pipe to talk to the peer. So then in the core, this is kind of half-assed UML, and in here down here as well, in the idea that that's sort of the super class. There's this idea of a role, and the role is either a service or a wallet, and like as I mentioned, they're kind of mirror images of each other, and there's probably a lot of code that's going to be shared between them, and different behaviors as a service talks to a wallet and a wallet talks to a service. So we want these classes to be represented here, and yeah, so they're going to consume a socket to send and receive. and then yeah, it's providing some notification or some sort of reference up to the UI, on the user who's trying to use all this. So then up at the application layer, now an example of that. So in the demo, I had this as an application example, just something that can move sats between two. So these each are service roles. So the wrappers of CLightning and LND are the wallets, and this in the window here in the JavaScript is a service. So this is one such application that's connecting. It's taking the role of service. It's got two of them. It's connecting over the transport to a wallet. So that's the connection piece right here. We're going to connect and disconnect. And then the actual provide UI for moving money. So that's the push and pull here. So yeah, that's our example of a service. But we've talked about different combinations of that, and I had a few ballpark examples in the last video. Of moving money between exchanges, video games. Sparkshot is one of them, where we're going to be a service here when we want to talk to a wallet. So that's all left up to the choice of the application you want to build, and these are just the generic plug-in roles that we want to have there. Likewise, on the wallet side, so there's no reason to tie it into one particular wallet, so I provided an example for CLightning and LND. It's really no big deal that both nodes provide what we need. So that in a nutshell is the ability to pay a Bolt 11, to request a Bolt 11, for somebody else to pay, but then also the service of when somebody else has paid that Bolt 11, there has to be a notification coming back to the wallet to say, hey, somebody else paid this Bolt 11, you need to update and adjust. So those are the basic services we need. So CLightning, LND, but then some other wallet service. So we've talked about mobile wallets, and then some of these other things like LN bits that are wallet abstraction layers. And then also if we're talking about fiat custodial stuff, or some other custodial account, where they're going to exchange the currency upon being paid, they need to provide this service into a wallet. And then, so I've got this. I kind of want this to be a fairly generic class Lightning service that provides these things, and then whoever's writing an application goes ahead and implements it. So then, just to give an example of sort of that custodial wallet approach, they'd have to figure out what they're doing here. They'd have to provide that, so then they'd implement a wallet role, so they have to choose sort of their connection mechanism, and then they'd have to provide some sort of UI to go configure that. So they may or may not choose to use some library code, like they could implement this all entirely to their liking in whatever preferred language is. So the task here is to define what the wallet behavior is and give a rough kind of architectural model here to kind of understand it. But otherwise, leave it up to them on how they're going to actually have the wallet, and then what kind of persistence they need. But this is not clearly defined. I'm still not sure on exactly what's going to be needed, and I think that's very much application dependent on what you actually need to save in a database and that kind of thing. So yeah, stuff I'm thinking about there. I don't know. Okay, well, this is getting a bit long already, so maybe I'll cut it off there. But yeah, please join the Telegram if you got any thoughts and comments on any of this. And then on the GitHub, there's a little bit of documentation taking shape. So anything you can say is helpful. And talk to you somewhere else.